How you doing this thumbnail thing, just if you're going to do it?
What's going on, guys? Welcome into Rover Sports here on what a wacky Sunday it is. Jaguars 28, Pittsburgh Steelers 14. No one could have seen this coming. I sure as heck didn't. I'll eat crow right now. If not for that long touchdown by the Pittsburgh Steelers there, then this game I think would almost be maybe an insurmountable deficit. I still think the Steelers have a chance to come back, but it is a freaking crazy start to this game. The Jaguars defense, one of the best defenses I think I've seen in the past 10 years. I mean, I put them right up there with Denver a couple of years ago. They are playing like the 2000 Ravens, like the Buccaneers. The defense is just incredible. Miles Jack with an interception, and Dockway forces the fumble. And Jalen Ramsey, the defense is getting home to Big Ben. And when you look at this game, I mean, Bruce, I'm completely stunned that the Jags are running it this effectively, and they're pretty much controlling the entire game.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette was a complete beast. He was running effectively. He was taken to the locker room. It was unclear what body part was actually injured, but you know, he's a pretty resilient guy. If Fournette comes back in the second half, it'll obviously enable him to be two-way. As far as Blake Bortles is concerned, he's managing a good game. He's not making mistakes. And this just doesn't look like the Steelers' offense. Big Ben is getting sacked, fumbling it, throwing interceptions.
No running game.
But for the
running game.
But for the one almost, the fourth down, almost a Hail Mary, which was perfectly executed. The Steelers are out of this game in their own turf, the Heinz Field.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the conditions, there is no wind at all. So Jacksonville, a warm weather team, doesn't seem to be bothered by the weather at Heinz Field.
It's just a great game plan. They're playing so decisively, Jacksonville. They're playing fast. They're really hammering the Steelers. They're really playing angry. And the Jags defense is just unbelievably tremendous. I didn't see them having this big of an impact again on the Steelers, forcing all these turnovers. And Blake Bortles is playing a lot better than I thought, both with his legs and throwing the ball. And now the Jacksonville Jags, if they win this game with Bortles, are going to have a decision, whether to keep Blake Bortles. Because this defense right now, I think we can agree, Bruce, that this looks like the Seattle Seahawks defense. You know, when the Legion of Boom was first founded, this defense is special. And the Jaguars actually have a window to win a Super Bowl with this caliber of defense that they've built there.
Certainly, the best defense I ever saw.
This is their window. To beat Steelers 28-7, the Steelers are really one of the kings of the AFC. When you look at the elite of the AFC, it's New England and Pittsburgh. And when Jacksonville goes into Pittsburgh and has a 21-point lead in the second quarter of a playoff game there at Heinz Field, then you know that these Jaguars are really playoff contenders. This is a playoff contender.
Yeah, what I expected, frankly, the Tennessee Patriots game was really not a game. Tennessee scored a touchdown. Patriots scored 28 straight points. I expected Jacksonville going to Pittsburgh to be a mirror image, and what a shock it was to see them up 28-7. Again, Big Ben is capable of magic. Looking at the Steelers, there's plenty of time down 2 touchdowns. It's going to be a great second half. It's nice as a football fan, without a particular rooting interest, to see a good game. Certainly last night's game was very exciting. The Eagles pulled it out, went down to the last second. So we're hoping to see today, obviously, this game, and then Saints-Vikings will be an indoor game, finally a good weather game. And so this is red meat for football fans like us.
I like the outdoor game, and I was scarred last year, Bruce, with Dolphins-Steelers because I just remembered how awful that game was with Matt Moore. And I looked at this game, and I was too simple about it. I said Blake Bortles is not going to win this game. The Steelers are going to be able to stop the run at a high clip, force Bortles to beat them, which he won't do. And Bortles was terrible against the Buffalo Bills, and today he's been more confident. But really, the Steelers are shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, sack fumbles, Todd Haley not calling any running plays. The toss call was a terrible call on 4th and 1. They threw a toss, Bruce, on 4th and 1, way in back of the line when they could have gotten a field goal or at least caught a play-action pass. So I do like how the Steelers, though, Bruce, are going hurry up. I like that they're showing urgency, and I think the Steelers are going to have chances to get back in the game.
Well, certainly fourth down with 2 minutes left in the half to actually try, basically all the marbles, touchdown pass to number 10 of the Steelers. That was a perfectly thrown ball.
That was a must make.
And that was a must make. It was, but if you look at what are the percentages of that play hitting? With most quarterbacks, it might be a 10 percentile. With Big Ben, it might be a coin flip. It might be 50-50. Incredible play. That's what Ben Roethlisberger is, absolutely a Hall of Famer. And you can never count the Steelers out, especially their defense is going to wake up a bit. And Bortles has a chance to get a little bit tight. So, certainly we have a lot of Jags fans.
It's going to be crazy, because when you look...
the wrong turn, but that's okay. We have more time to do Rover Sports.
When you look at this game, coming down the stretch here, it's going to be, it's really going to be... if the Steelers lose this game, is this going to be the end of the Big Ben era? Is he going to retire?
I believe not.
Is Mike Tomlin going to be on the hot seat for next year if he loses to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team with no history at home? And is Le'Veon Bell going to re-sign? And is this defense going to be an elite defense? Because they really haven't been the Steel Curtain. They're kind of turned into a softer version of the Steelers. The old Steelers would have never, had this type of performance where it's just run and gun, just throwing the ball all the time. They never would have had, a defense like that.
Yeah, and you wonder, Le'Veon Bell looks like he's healthy. He looks like he's fine.
And they're not running it. They're
just not running.
They're playing soft. They're playing soft football, and I gotta give the Jags so much credit. I was dead wrong on this game. UCF Jaguar, he really can rub it in everyone's face because I thought the Steelers would win, and I thought it wouldn't be close. I thought this wouldn't be a ball game at all, especially after what was a terrible performance. That game was unwatchable last week with the Jags and Bills. How could you imagine that Jags team that had no offense versus the Buffalo Bills? And the Buffalo Bills are a pretty average team getting in the playoffs. How could you imagine that they go into Pittsburgh and are up 28-7? I guess that's what makes the sport of football so interesting.
It's shocking, and it shows you any given Sunday, really. Let's do a quick wrap-up. I know that you attended the Eagles-Falcons game last night.
It got like 3 minutes.
It was an up and down. It's okay. It was an up and down game. It was an ugly game, turnovers, but somehow the Philadelphia Eagles eked it out on the strength of their defense. They stopped Matt Ryan with 4th and 2. Matt Ryan threw a sprint out pass, very predictable sprint out pass to Julio Jones. The Eagles smelled it out. Jalen Mills had good coverage. The ball went out of bounds, but obviously that wasn't the story of the game. Why don't you give us your synopsis
I
of
would have audible Jones on the Ronald Darby. I think Jalen Mills is a Pro Bowl caliber corner. I think that Jalen Mills has great potential to really be a great corner. No one ever lights up Jalen Mills. I think that Ronald Darby is more accessible. But I looked at Atlanta. I didn't like their play calling the other day. I thought that Atlanta didn't take it to the Eagles. The Eagles' defensive line is the best unit in the NFL, and that's why they're going to have a chance in every game. I thought Nick Foles actually was pretty solid in the game yesterday. And again, I was wrong. Matt Ryan came up so small yesterday. He couldn't get any drives going. There were no explosive plays or throws. Steve Sarkisian never took any chances down the field. You look even at the first play of the game when Nick Foles slipped and just hoisted the ball in the air, and guess what happened? The Atlanta Falcons guy seamlessly ran into a dude, ensuing in a 40-yard penalty. That's what happens in the NFL. You could just chuck the ball in the air and get like a 50-yard penalty because the NFL has the dumbest rules with pass interference. And listen, Atlanta, Their offensive scheme is terrible. No explosive plays. The Eagles' defense was great, and then Desmond Trufant just couldn't lock down Alshon Jeffrey on one-on-one coverages. Nick Foles had all these easy throws, and the Eagles' defense. I know everybody likes the Vikings' defense, but I think the Eagles' defense is the best in the conference. And they surprised me yesterday. And I'll admit I was wrong. I thought the Falcons would win the game, would run the ball. They got away from the running game, and the Eagles just controlled the entire game yesterday.
We have a question here from Lisa from Reading. Again, we are Rover Sports. We're on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook. And wait 1 second here. Just an interesting driving maneuver there. So we have a question from Lisa from Reading. Spencer, let's look at the crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the New Orleans Saints rumbling into the Minnesota, the new dome, the new stadium, indoors. Finally, you'll see a game with 70-degree weather and no wind. What do you see in the second game of the doubleheader today?
I don't think that the Saints' defense is that bad. I think the Saints got to stop the run. Saints got to get after Case Keenum. I think the Saints can do it. I think Marshawn Lattimore is a good enough cornerback. I think the Saints' offense is really complete. I think that they have a complete team. I think that, you look at Kamara, you look at Mark Ingram. This is a team now with Drew Brees, with Michael Thomas that, they are so difficult to stop because you know what it is? It is pick your poison with this. New Orleans Saints team. I think the Saints are a more dangerous team, and I think that their defense is actually going to come up big for them today. I got Saints 24-14 in Minnesota. I think they win this game pretty comfortably, control it from cover to cover, and we'll see. But Derek Carr makes some good comments here. He thinks that the Steelers can come back, and actually when it was 21-0, I actually went and one of my friends back here, I said, I'll take the Steelers right now to win this game. And I think the Steelers do have a pretty decent chance of getting right back in this thing. If the Steelers put a little bit of pressure on Jacksonville, come out of recess and get some points, I think that this game will then be a dogfight. And I think the Steelers right now, the Jags have about a 65% chance of winning, Steelers 35%. It's not a bad idea. I actually think the Steelers have a pretty good chance to still win this football game because of the hurry up, because of how lethal their offense is, and it's going to be tough for the Jags to take it home, Derek, absolutely. It's going to be tough, and no Leonard Fournette to salt away the clock. If the Steelers can stop the run, force Blake Bortles to throw on third down, this game could get really, really tight. And at Heinz Field, it's going to be tough to close out a game, especially remember, the first playoff games for Jacksonville since 2007 with a young quarterback, a coach that has only been coaching there 1 year, a team with no tradition. We'll see if Jacksonville can get the biggest win of their franchise history today. It would be a very nice story. Hell of a first half. Shocking the sports media world. The Jacksonville Jaguars up big. Let's see if it holds.